The name of our channel is An American Expat Living in Thailand. Being an expat can be difficult at times. One of the difficult things is keeping a hook to your roots from your home country. I try a couple of things to help that out. One is I still root for the Seattle Seahawks, as you can see here. The other is I celebrate a lot of the American holidays. I celebrate July 4th and especially Thanksgiving, which is a big deal. But I looked at the calendar a bit, well, many calendars, and except for the first 22 years of my life living in New York City, the rest of my time, I think more time has spent living overseas than living in America. I met and married my wife of 53 years, Pikun, in Thailand, and my children were born here, although they're also Americans. But today, I wanted to talk about the other thing that keeps me feeling my roots as an American. And that's every year when November comes along, the first Tuesday in November, I vote. Especially when it comes to a year like this year when the presidency is being fought. So voting to me keeps me feeling an American. And today I'm going to talk about how an expat can, one, register to vote, two, ask for a ballot, get that ballot, and then fill it out and send it back in so that your vote counts. I think that's a pretty important part of continuing to be an American, even though I'm living in a country that's not America. So today we're going to talk about how an American can vote in an American election. Now, other countries have their own ways, and I'm sure you can look that up on the internet and find out how to do it. But today I'm going to talk about some of the very specific ways, or specific things you'll need to do to register, apply for a ballot, fill out that ballot, and then send it in. I'm a curious guy. And whenever I have a question like, what's the name of that bird? Or how do I make clam chowder? I go to the internet, most often to the Google machine, and very often to YouTube. So today, when I wanted to get a little more information about how Americans can vote from abroad, I went to the Google machine and asked them. And I found a couple of really good websites that will answer all your questions and also allow you to register to vote and to request an absentee ballot. Let's take a look at our first website, votefromabroad.org. And here you can see the first page, you're here to vote, we're here to help. You're a U.S. citizen who lives abroad, you can vote. We've got you covered. So they're here to help us expats figure out how to vote. We get English and Spanish here, and first thing we do is we select the state that we are going to be voting in, and I'll pull that down. And since I'm from Washington, I'm going to select Washington State. Get started. Let's go. And the first thing you have here is, what are some of the things it's going to do for us? Number one, register and or request my ballot. Number two, election information and deadlines. And number three, ballot information. Okay, so the most important part, I guess, if we're not registered, if we're already registered, that's fine. If we're not registered, let's click on this and see what we got. And here's what you'll need. Your U.S. voting address. That's the one in America. with the zip code and your current non-U.S. address. That's the one you're living in. 3, your social security number, if you have one, and your state ID, if you have one. I don't think Washington has a state ID. It says it'll take 5 to 7 minutes to complete. So this is pretty straightforward, easy stuff to get yourself registered, and it will also be asking you for an address where they can send your ballot to. And later in this video, I'll be showing you exactly how I do it. So that'll take you step by step of how it's done. So that's votefromabroad.org. Now, this is the second website that I thought would be helpful. It's the fvap.gov website, Federal Voting Assistance Program.gov. And you see the .gov, it means this is a government website. The other one was a .org, and it's not a government website, but it had all the information you need. In this case, this is the real government website, and this is what we're seeing here. Request your ballot. 103 days until November 5th general election. That's interesting to know. And then there's looking for specifics and a lot of information about voting. Let's see if we if we click on request your ballot now, let's see what we get. And there you are. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to go through. And let's see, I guess we're supposed to accept this. So let's go ahead and accept this. And here we are. And we'll click on Washington State. And again, they're going to be asking you for information so that they could give you all the information you need. Basically, it's similar to the one before. I won't walk through the whole thing for you, but both of these websites will allow you to register and will allow you to request a ballot. Now, again, every state is a little different how they do it. Like I said, Washington State automatically sends you a ballot. I'm not sure what other states do, but that's the Federal Voting Assistance Program.gov. I also found one more website where you can request an absentee ballot. It's at vote.org. They say it'll take 2 minutes after you fill out the form to get your absentee ballot sent to you. So you might want to check this one out. All you have to do is enter your correct state and they'll get it to you. Voting in each state might be a bit different. In Washington State, this is what I do. Your voting packet will come in the mail like this. In my case, it's coming from King County in Washington State. Well, that's where I have a permanent residence. I don't really live there, but that's my address. The envelope will tell you when election day is, and the reason they're telling you is so that you can get it in time. Washington State, all of the ballots are absentee ballots like this one, so everybody is sending them in. Now for us, if August 6th is the time for the election, then I'll need to send it in at least 4 weeks ahead of time by mail. I can also go to an embassy or a consulate, and they will accept the ballot, and they have a packet and they mail it in that way. So that's pretty guaranteed. I usually send mine by regular mail because I try to avoid going to the embassies. By the way, the packet I'm describing here is specific to Washington State. All the other states have something similar, maybe not exactly the same, but the basics will be the same. I'll be giving you the website where you can find the ballot for your specific state. After you open your packet, you'll find your ballot. This is an example of a ballot for a primary election. That's why there's so many names on there. And they show you how to fill it in, with the circle and blacking out the circle. And if you've made a mistake, you cross it out and black a different circle. And sometimes this ballot can be quite long, and you can unfold it and it'll be, like 3 or 4 feet long, depending on what kind of election it is. Now, these primaries will have a lot of names, whereas the main election for president and senators and governors will only have a few names on each. So this is the one that's really important, and you have to fill this out before anything else. Each packet will come with a list of instructions. They are pretty simple, and we're covering most of it right here. This one is kind of cool because there's a sticker that says, "I voted." I kind of like that. As this says, this is the security sleeve. You slip your ballot inside the sleeve, and you can see the pictures. And it's optional, but I kind of use it all the time because just to make sure nobody's trying to steal my ballot. And it's very convenient. This is the return envelope. You can see at the upper right-hand corner that if you're living in the States and send this in, it's free postage. Now, in Washington State, as I said, everybody votes absentee ballot like this, and so people use this, and it's free postage. But if you're living abroad like we are, that's a different story. Now, fill in your return address, and that's the address where you're living, the country you're living in. Turn the return envelope over, and maybe you'll see the most important part of the whole deal here. See that X in the middle? That's where you have to sign your name. If the ballot is unsigned, it won't be counted. If it's signed and there's a question about it, they can compare their signature here with the signature they have on file. So it's as easy as that. You voted. Well, that's it. You can see that registering to vote and getting your absentee ballot is pretty straightforward and simple. You have to do it in time, so make sure you give yourself enough time to do all that and send in your ballot in time. Now, every year they tell us that this election is maybe the most important one in our lifetime. And that's usually not the case. But in this year's election, that might be closer to the truth than before. So it's important to vote. And one of the things that will happen when you do vote is you'll feel more like an American, and you'll have your hook back in your home country. Well, thanks for watching.